Good morning. Welcome to Legacy After the Locker Room. I'm your host, Kayla Bradham, here today with NFL alumni Michael Moon Thompson. Good morning, Michael.
Man, Grand Rising, good morning. Thank you for having me early in the morning. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you being here. Thank you for understanding the Christmas program that my children had last night. I really
Of
appreciate that.
course.
Thank you. Michael, let's talk a little bit about Michael the boy and his love for sports. What kind of sports did you play growing up?
Man, growing up for me, man, I think the first sport I played was pick 'em up, bust 'em up, man. That real rough urbanized football where we was throwing the ball up in the air and seeing who the best man was gonna get it, and you got to run through 20 kids in the neighborhood and get to the end, then turn around and you got to run back. So we was always trying to outdo each other. You know what I mean? Hey man, I ran back three times. I ran back 5 times. You know what I mean? And stickball, man, we used to play this game called half rubber. I'm from Savannah, so we would take um like a rubber ball and we'd cut it in half, and it's called half rubber. And you line up like baseball. You got a stick, and you throw the ball. It bounces off the pavement, and because how it's made, and it skips up, and you hit it. And it was called half rubber. Man, that game was amazing. We played stickball growing up, for
Okay, so I've
sure.
never heard of that, but I love it. I have 8 kids. We would play that.
I mean, listen, when I tell you it is amazing, you line it up just like baseball. You know what I mean? But you out there, even if you got a tennis ball, the pitcher bounces the ball off the ground, and you're hitting it with like a broomstick. So you just swing. It's a wonderful family game, friend
I,
game.
I love it. I love it. And the urban football I love too because I think the cool thing is you're playing with kids way bigger than you when you're a tiny tyke, right?
Oh yeah, man. My listen, my uncle, he was here. He'll tell you like my older brother. He's 6 years old, 6.5 years older than me. So I used to beg to play with his friends. I'm like 5, 6 years old. You know what I mean? They're like 14. You know what I mean? They're 12, 11. So one day my uncle yelled out the window, "Hey man, let them play." So they kicked the ball off. I'm like 7 years old. I fly down the field with these 12-year-old kids, and I grab this guy's leg, probably like maybe in football terms, like the 50. And that kid drugged me all the way to the end zone, and I never let his leg go. So when he slammed the ball down, he's like, "Yeah, I scored." I stood up and said, "But I ain't let go though." And like
That's
ever
right.
since then, the older kids was like, "Okay, you know what I'm saying? Little Michael got some heart. We're gonna start letting him play." So ever since then, I was just playing football every day. Um, we go to school, we go to rec. You can't tackle in school, so we playing that push touch where we pushing you so hard you're falling down anyway. You know what I mean? I would come home with, man, holes in my jeans. I'd have been playing football at rec. I just stayed after school. We played it before we got, you know what I'm saying? It was like 15 of we'll walk home about 3 miles from school. So we'll just stay after school, go to practice field and play football. Walk home like 20 deep. You start walking, we all going the same way. Everybody start branching off their little ways home. And man, I did that for years. And I think that's why I started just really loving football. The actual first time I played organized ball, I played for this team called the Patriots in Savannah, and I was like 6. But because I was big, I had to play because they did weight. I had to play with like 9, 10-year-old kids, right? So my mom came to one practice. I'm out there getting ran over. She was like, "Oh no, you ain't gonna play no more." So I'm like, "Ma," I cried, like, "Let me play on the team." So the coach didn't put me in at all. And when we ended up winning the city championship, it was like 1984, right? So I remember I was sitting at the park, and me and my friends who didn't get in, we used to take the dirt from under the bleachers and rub it on our white pants to make it look like we got in the game. Man, that was like, I remember that like it was yesterday. Like, man, I went from rubbing dirt on my pants all the way to being All-American and about to be inducted to the Hall of Fame at Tennessee State. And, you know what I mean? To play in the NFL, that's crazy.
That is crazy. And let's talk about that. What did your college selection look like, Michael?
Um, Honestly, I was a late bloomer. Like I was always big, uber athletic. But I was from Savannah, Georgia. So at that time, it was like, Shannon Sharp, maybe I came out. We had a guy named Eric Green that played in my high school. Actually, he went to Liberty. He ended up playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So he was like my idol. I'm like, man, I made this high school. This dude named Eric Green, he played basketball, football. Then my older brother came before me. My older cousin came before me. They were good in football and track and basketball. So I was like, man, I think I can do this, So get to my senior year, and I'm like 6'4", 275, 35-inch vertical. Like I'm playing because I've been playing basketball because from 6 years old all the way to ninth grade, my mom didn't let me play football. So I was the center fielder. Imagine this big chubby kid playing center field in baseball. I'm tracking balls, like literally. But at 12 years old, I think I was 5'11", 165. So my coach said, listen, Michael, I think you're going to outgrow center field and catcher, man. You might need to wait high school and play football. So I waited. I stopped playing baseball at 12U, and I just played, man, neighborhood football. So when I got to high school in my senior year, I'm all city and all region. And so I was in love with Miami growing up, right? And the Bulldogs. So Howard Snellenberger was the head coach at Miami. And I just love like his style of coaching. So then he left there and went to Louisville. So Louisville was recruiting me, Tennessee heavy, Georgia Tech. I remember Ralph Friesen came to see me. At that time, he was the O-line coach at Georgia Tech. He was like, yo, I want you to come to GT. You're going to be an O-lineman. But I was playing defense. I'm like, what? Like, nah, I'm not going to be no O-lineman, brother. Like, I'm sorry. Sorry. So George O'Leary, I took the visit. You're going to be one of the best tackles. Defensive tackle? No, you're going to play left tackle for me. I see it. I'm like, nah, I ain't doing that, kiddo. You know what I mean? Like, so then I used to do Upward Bound at Savannah State when Bill Davis was the head coach. God bless his soul, man. Sweet man. So I used to be the water boy sometimes for the games at Savannah State. I'm playing ping pong one day, just after school in Windsor Forest High School gym, and I hear Michael Thompson. So I'm ignoring it because I'm like, if I'm in trouble, they got to come get me. I'm not moving. I hear it, but I can't hit the ping pong. So he steps in front of the table. He was like, hold on one second. I'm sorry. He said, you going to make me drive all the way from Nashville for you to answer my letters? I'm like, man, what's up? How you doing? He's like, man, I'm Bill Davis. I'm like, oh my God. It's like I seen like my hero because Savannah State at that time was winning games. They had Shannon Sharp, a great running back. I wish I remember the quarterback name. So I remember like going to Savannah State football game. And this is like the legendary Bill Davis. So we go in my coach's office and him and my coach get to talking, and my coach is like, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't been giving him y'all letters. And it upset me kind of like, man, why not give me these type of letters, the FAMUs at Jackson State? So I took a visit to Tennessee State, and when I tell you I was just in love with the culture, the environment, coming from Savannah, you don't see African Americans in one campus and they celebrating who we are as a people, getting an education, still able to become an engineer. I mean, Oprah went here. Wilma Rudolph went here. Ed Too Tall Jones went here. My Atlanta Falcon brother, God bless his dad, Claude Humphrey went here. Jefferson Street Joe Gillen went here. The list of Olympic athletes at TSU that won the gold medal, look it up. Look up how many pros come from Tennessee State. Look it up. We got linemen right now in the league. What I know from the Bears, we got Levine from the Ravens. We got Dominique Rogers-Cromartie. Like, So when I went there, I'm like, wait a minute. I like this. So I remember calling Georgia Tech, and I'm like, man, Coach O'Leary, I think I'm going to sign with TSU. He was like, oh, man, you're going to be a big fish in a small pond. No one's going to know you, and you're messing up. And I said, when I see you again, remember that you told me this. True story. I saw him again at the combine my senior year when I'm ranked like the 6th best tackle in the draft. And this is like Chris McIntosh in this draft, Chris Samuels in this draft. These are factual numbers. Mel Kiper rated me the 100th best player in the draft. And I got drafted number 100. So for a man to tell me something like that, not knowing that I come from an environment where my whole life I watched my mom work 3 jobs. My father was an absentee father. Did he send money? Yes. Did we have conversations? Yes. But there were times where I just needed my father and he was not there. My mother consumed every role that it took to put her oldest son, who went to college on scholarship, got a master's from SCAD, myself, with my psych degree, my education degree. My mother instilled no matter what, no excuses, show up MF, who tell you can't, you can. And then tell them you bless them on the way up when you pass by them. So when I seen him at the combine, I was like, Coach O'Leary, remember me, Michael Thompson? You told me that I was going to be a big fish in a small pond. I wouldn't be here. Look, I made it. And I meant every word of that because I told him on the phone. I was 18 years old. So at Tennessee State, I go as a defensive end. And I was co-rookie of the year. Coaching changed. Bill Davis retires. His coach come in, LC Cole. Man, you're going to be a left tackle, man. What you mean? I'm about to move your left tackle this spring. Who? Nah, man, we're not doing none of that. So I fought that. I said, look, I played tight end in high school. I played tight end. He's like, okay, cool. Slapped 99 on me. Then we played 12 games that year. He threw me the ball 12 times. I had like 12 catches for like 130 yards. All I did was zone block the end on tight end stay, or down block. So I remember Russ Ehrenfield, man, like God has always had angels. Coach Hardy, Coach Jenkins, Coach Luton, Coach Russ Ehrenfield at TSU. He came to me one day. He said, listen, Mike, all I ever hear you say is you want to take care of your mom. You want to do this for your mom. You want to do that for your mom. He said, when Ed Too Tall Jones was here and Claude Humphrey was here and them guys, do you know, he said, have you ever looked at the numbers they were putting up? Astronomical numbers. So for those times, in the eyes of the people who drafted them, now follow me, they look like gladiators. Ed Too Tall Jones 6'8", Claude Humphrey 6'7". Back then, guys in the NFL wasn't that big, if you following me. You speed up to 2000, you have humongous tackles. John Runyon. You know what I mean? You got Orlando Pace. You know what I mean? You got human. So their eyes were used to seeing these gladiators. He said, take that same aggression and passion, and you are so athletic. Can you imagine what you would look like at left tackle? Oh, man. So I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, I want to transfer. I want to be left tackle. And he was like, they speak to it. He said, Mom, this is Russ Ehrenfield. You told me take care of your son, right? Well, I'm telling you, this is an opportunity for your son, if you listen to me and trust me, to be able to take care of you. And she said, put my son on the phone. I got on the phone. She said, whatever this man tell you to do, do it. I got on the phone. I said, all right, I'll play left tackle. So I stayed up there the whole summer. And I just trained, and he just trained me. And he was like, listen, you got to be fundamental. You got to be technical. It's not about how fast you are. It's going to be bigger guys than you, stronger guys than you. But are your hands going to be in the right place? Are your elbows going to be down? Are your thumbs going to be up? Is your foot going to be in? It was always I know you can broad jump 9 feet, Michael. I know you're going to, I ran a 4.92 in the 40. I was 295 pounds. He knew that. I played basketball. People don't know this. I started my sophomore year for the college basketball team at TSU. Google it. I had 6.4 rebounds versus Louisville. I played versus Florida State. I had 10 points, 11 boards. This all Googleable. I played big-time college basketball and football at my university. I played defensive end, started, tight end, started, left tackle, started. How many guys you know start 3 different positions in college and play basketball? So that don't tell you about how athletic I was. So I put in all this work. I get to the first game of the year, my junior year, I'm playing FAMU. I'm preseason, all conference. Right before halftime, I break my leg and ankle. My mom at the game, she crying. For 7 months, 6 months, I'm on crutches. I remember the team leaving, they going to play games. I'm just laying in the door by myself. I remember just hopping on that floor with that cast on, doing push-ups. I remember hobbling on them crutches in the snow in Tennessee to the cafeteria by myself. Book bag on my back. And all I hear my mama telling me in my head was, ain't nothing gonna stop you. Keep going. So I used to call my mama crying man, the coach don't love me. Man, the team don't mess with me. I was just in a funk. And I said, you know what? I'm going to come back, man. I'm about to be All-American, man. So they'll be, I'm going to downtown Nashville on the west side. I'm going to rehab. I'm doing 1,000 push-ups a day. Crunches, side. This is all on my own. And I started learning how to just train, go get it. So I remember watching Rocky. It was Rocky 3, and he was training to fight Drago. It was Rocky 4, whatever, and he was training to fight Drago. And I'm watching this movie, and I'm watching this man run up the mountains, how he was hitting that focus, that passion. It wasn't just to win for him. It was to avenge. It was to get past that fear, no matter what, in whatever element. And that's how I train. So getting my now redshirt junior year, I make second team all conference. Second team. Oh, I gotta work harder. The next summer, never went home. Just trained, hitting it hard. I said, I'm the kid. I used to practice my autographs 6th, 7th grade and tear them in papers and give them to people in the hallway. And they'll be like, what's this? And my autographs, better keep them. I'm going to the pro. Man, Big Mike, you ain't going no NFL, man. Man, Moon, you ain't going no pro, bro. You gonna be right here with us. Who? Okay. I'm that kid. So I just remember, man, my senior year, I told myself, I'm gonna be the best tackle in Black college. I'm gonna be All-American. I'm gonna be better than Chris Samuel. So I started picking guys. I'm watching Chris. I come home, ESPN, whatever video I can find in Alabama, watching him. I'm watching Chris McIntosh. I remember it. If you hear me talk, you hear the passion, because I'm there with it, right? I start locking people out. Start pancaking folks. Every game, I'm just into it. Man, after my senior year, man, to be from a Black college, 1AA, and be named first team All-American 1AA is humongous. If people don't understand, these every 1AA team you can think of. Back then, Georgia Southern was 1AA. So all these big teams, Murray States, East Kentucky's, the North Dakota, South Dakota, the Montana, all these big 1AA schools. Citadel, I'm first team All-American. Burger King All-American. This sportspage.com. Offensive lineman of the year. What? From a Black college? Black College All-American, Black College Offensive Lineman of the Year, Burger King All-American. Then we go, boom, I get selected to the Blue-Gray game. Now I remember Scott Hale was like, hey, if you do good at this game, we might invite you to the Senior Bowl. So in my head, I'm like, might? Okay. Because, see, I knew I had Tennessee talent because I turned down them. Louisville talent. When Snellenberger retired, I turned down Louisville. I turned down Georgia Tech. If you watch my first game versus FAMU in 1995, I was playing defensive end. It's on YouTube. The commentator says Tennessee State has D1 talent. Freshman Michael Thompson turned down Tennessee, Louisville to come to play with the Tigers on broadcast. Like, so I knew in my mind, I can block these DNs. And I remember it was Darren Howard, Kansas State my year. He was the guy. So I go to this Blue-Gray game, and Tommy Tuberville is the coach, and got all Marcus Washington and, all these big-time names. And I'm like, wait till we get the one-on-ones. That's all I'm saying in my head. I mean, I got all my TSU gear on. They like, TSU. I'm like, yeah, man, I ain't got my stuff you got. I got the same faded blue sweatpants. I went in black. You know how I'm looking compared to what this guy from Nebraska wearing every day. And I ain't even mad. I remember me and Trevor Gator, who's still one of my best friends. He's from University of Miami, Ohio. We bonded because we both from small schools, and everybody doubted him too. So we used to be on the van going to practice like, hey, man, when we get back, I'm going to let you know, bro, how many I did these fools. He'll say, when we get back, I'm going to let you know how many one-on-ones where I burned these fools. And we're like, bet. So I remember first damn one-on-ones. It's me and Marcus Washington. Oh, lock them out. Last somebody else, the big dude from Baylor, I can't remember his name. Lock them out. Then I start talking. Y'all SEC? But this what y'all got? Coach, who next? Line them up. Boom, Darren Howard. I can show you the ESPN magazine. Hey, they never seen it. Because in my mind, this is what I'm thinking. Y'all gonna stop me from feeding my family, from getting my mama a house, her first ever, her first car. You line up in front of me, bro. You not eating off my plate, fam. My mom was abused when I grew up, so I was abused. So the quarterback and the running back became like my mama. So I always tell myself, if I let this dude beat me, it's like he's came and knocked on my door, slapped me in my face, threw me aside, and assaulted my mama. So when people ask, oh, what was your why? My why was I defended my mama honor. Because in my mind, when I line up my stance, I look at this DN and I'm like, this dude think he about to whoop my ass and go put his hands on my mama. No, man. See, when I was young, I couldn't defend him. See, I took all that pain and I allowed it to motivate me. I didn't allow it to destroy me. I'm not a victim. I'm victorious. I'm a survivor. See, I don't think like that. My mama did not allow me to think like that. I watched my mama get abused and she never cried. Imagine that. Your mama getting abused right in your face and she won't shed a tear. She won't let this man have the glory of seeing her cry. Asked my mama one day, Mama, why you don't never cry? My mama said, I never let this man see me cry. He put his hands on me. He can't break my spirit, baby. Because I used to be like, man, ain't no way God real. My mama getting beat up all the time for nothing. How is God real? And I got to go borrow sugar. How God real? And I got to go borrow bologna. How God real? My mama working 3 jobs. So I remember, man, my mama told me, she was like, listen, unless you go to school and get a scholarship like your brother, she was like, you're going to be the biggest person ever flipping French fries. And I was 14 years old. I got on my knees for the first time. This is when my faith came in. I got on my knees for the first time. I was 14. I was like, God, if you give me this, man, I promise, like, man, I'll celebrate you. I'll glorify you. I want to make it to the league. When I got off my knees, I can see a drill one time. Somebody do it, and I go emulate it. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. So now when I got to practice, they be like, yeah, Thompson, go. Man, I done worked on monkey rolls at home by myself. I done worked on footwork at home by I was waiting on this. I'm always going to go first because I know in my mind I've been preparing to show you who told me I couldn't do it. Little stuttering black kid from Savannah, Georgia, who used to live in the state, be on the run, and be in the station wagon with his mama while she worked in Kroger overnight. Who mama worked 3 jobs, man. Who mama was abused. I lived in a homeless shelter, a battered women's shelter. That kid was sitting in Tennessee and heard the commissioner say, and with the 100th pick of the 2000 draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Michael Thompson, Tennessee State. There's no one in the world ever can take that feeling away from me, like ever. When you know, I'm a man, and I had to learn this. Like football, we build up this character, this mantra in our mind, like this egotistical, gotta be aggressive. Like you gotta, because it's all we're taught. We're never taught how to transfer to your life, to being a husband, a good brother, a good son. We don't know how to express, like, oh, let me tell you how I feel about this. It's like, down that hut. That's what it is. Like, oh, you made me mad. I'm supposed to hit you.
Michael, you're bringing up such good points, and I just want to confirm everything you're saying. I am a single mom with 8 kids living in an urban community. Couple of things that just really touch my heart. Number one, it doesn't matter where we come from, it matters where we're going and the story we tell. The way you honor your mom, the way she never broke down and cried because her spirit was unbreakable.
Right.
What a testimony to the human spirit. That's so amazing. I want to take just a minute to let our listeners know this is the Legacy After the Locker Room podcast. I'm your host, Kayla Bradham, here today with NFL alumni Michael Moon, sharing a very real testimony of a Black man growing up in an urban community, working hard, facing the odds with a story of success. Because, Michael, it's not just what you did in the pro football league, in the NFL, it's what you're doing now. Uncle Pigskin.
Yes.
Making a difference, right? Like all these lessons you learned from homeless shelters, battered women's shelters, out on the streets playing half rubber ball.
Yeah.
You are reaching into the community, and shout out to Shannon Sharp and the HBCUs and the opportunity finally for equality. But we still have big problems. I live in Milwaukee. We just had Kyle Rittenhouse. We had the tragedy in Waukesha.
Right.
Michael, talk about what you're doing with Uncle Pigskin.
To get the Uncle Pigskin, I got to bring up in 2002, me and my mother founded the Michael Moon Thompson Foundation, and we were big time advocates against domestic violence for 4 years straight. I was nominated for a Founders Award. I actually won the Founders Award for my work I've done in the community. I partner with the Metro Atlanta battered women's shelters every year. Me, Toys R Us, and Babies R Us. I brought them Christmas. We fed them Thanksgiving. I spoke to 100,000 kids, about 30,000 survivors. Roll that into Jason Carrera gave me the opportunity. He was the head coach at the high school that my son's attend called Meadow Creek. And now he's the athletic director, great man at Central Gwinnett. So I'm always going to give him respect. I had emailed him for like a year straight. This is like the story of God. I emailed him for a year and a half straight. Like, hey, man, I'm looking for an opportunity. This is what I want to do. This is who I am. One day out the blue, I get a phone call. Hey, Michael, Jason Carrera. I'm like, what's going on, coach? He was like, listen, man, I know you've been emailing me now for like a year, man, and I seen him. I wasn't responding, but I woke up this morning and God just told me to call you, man. I may have an opportunity for you. So I'm like, okay. So I go inside his office, and the first thing he says is, listen, man, I'm a 52-year-old white guy. My team, the school is 2,700. Excuse me, it's mostly brown and African-American, Mexican, African-American. My football team is compiled of that. I need someone that can relate to these kids. I don't want to look like the crease khaki guy who comes from being, no, literally, it's a story from coming from being in the business, making a lot of money. I'm working on my doctorate. Like, I have a great life. I live on 3 acres. What can I tell them that doesn't sound like, you know what I mean? So he was like, I would love for you to be like someone in charge of our culture, like a culture coordinator, where you can just learn the guys. So basically, he just wanted me to really be around them. And how I looked at it was like, you know what? This gives me an opportunity to become something that, as a Black man, most of us don't have growing up, and it's this: a consistent, positive Black male role model. I may have a few that's fly by night, seasonal, but we don't have that consistent Black role model that we can not only trust with things that's going on with our ideals, but we can trust with our insecurities. Where this man is so relatable, and I see this man as an older vision of me. And one thing that God, man, has made my life into a testimony is that I've become every man, so every man can understand me, just like Paul. I've been incarcerated. I've been a follower where I thought I was a leader. I've been a bad husband. I've been a father who thought he was being a great father, but really didn't even know what being a father was, because what example was he following? Like, I am the man that looked in the mirror and admitted my faults and understood my strengths. Now I can grow. Now I can become the man that. And see, our problem is we have a vision of the man we want to be with, but no step ladder or roadmap to get there, like most 2-parent households have. I see Uncle Phil, I see Cliff Huxtable, but my uncle, he doing this. My homeboy daddy, he dabbling that. The principal at school treat me like I'm a thug, and he look just like me, but because of where he is, he don't give me the game. He try to strip me of who I want to be instead of just, it's always that. So I said, you know what? I'll do it. He's like, I got a guy I want you to meet. His name is Tommy Scribbins. And when I tell you this guy, Tommy Scribbins, he's the CEO of Accent Roofing, shameless plug, but it's been around 30-something years. Always 5-star, is the #1 roofing company literally in the southeastern states. He owns Uncle Pigskin. He's the CEO. So for like a couple of days, I didn't call him. And one day he just texted me like, hey man, heard great things about you, but you're the guy I prayed about. It's bigger than Meadow Creek. Please give me a call. So I'm like, what? So I called the guy. Come by my office. I go by his office. And he was like, Mike. He sat back, he was like, what's your dreams? And at that point in my life, I wasn't dreaming no more, because it was always something. So I sat back like, man, dream for what? My dreams are shattered. And because what I was going through, because I was paying for it at that time, me being the lack of man that I wanted to be. It's almost like I prayed for things and I got them, but I wasn't the man prepared as the man to hold on to them or to receive them and then reciprocate. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, I pray for this. I get it. Oh, okay. So you pray for a marriage. Okay, cool. You get married. Now, how you be a good husband? Shit, I don't know. Nobody in my family married. Let me just try this. But then you make so many mistakes. And then when you do become that man, you have to pay for those, because everybody's timeline ain't yours. And then you have to look and say, I have to respect that, and then heal and then move on. That's what makes you a man. I had to learn that. I wish I had what these kids have in me. Someone that every day, like, bro, you want to do that? Let me tell you how that's going to go. Because like I tell them, I'm every good decision and bad decision. You want to go to the league? Hey, I made it to the league. You might want to listen to somebody that went down the street, sat in the pit hole, had to climb over the obstacle, had to scale the hill, had to climb the wall, had to bungee jump out the hole, had to climb up the ladder. Then he came all the way back to tell you where not to go. You might want to listen to me. So I meet Tommy, and he was like, "Listen, man, be the coach coordinator. I think it'd be great." So we went from doing that, and so we have something on Sundays called spiritual leadership. And here's why: most guys like me, where I come from, when you come to me with the Bible, I'm like, "Oh Lord, here it come, bro. This guy." But when it comes from somebody that's still cool in their eyes, still got drip, still got swag, still speak the lingo, and then here I go talking about the red words of God. Hey man, listen, we ain't gonna learn the whole Bible. Check this out. This is what Jesus said. Because if you don't want to believe anything, believe this. And here's what I tell them. There were wise men sent on this earth by God. They were called prophets. But because we are different people, you know, we got Japanese and Asian and Europeans and Africans and Ethiopians. And I said he had to bring prophets and vet those people so they can understand. So therefore you have these different religions, these different prophets. You hear about Muhammad, you hear about Jesus, you hear about Buddha, you hear about, because God said, I'm gonna give my word to everybody. So yeah, that's why everybody believes who look like you, we this. You look like this, they're that. That's God. So I give them something to hold on to by a man that walked this earth. Jesus actually walked this earth. Sorry. So when I give them the red words and they look like me, now they like, oh man, we can talk about God. We can actually pray. Like after practice, now these kids sing a gospel song. These kids from single homes. These kids' mom called me about grades. Hey, can you get my kid an Uber? Coach, like the things we should like provide at Uncle Pigskin, like mentoring, meals, rides home, worship, equipment, supplies, tutoring, college career planning, scholarships, housing, volunteer, social community, summer camps. We do so much so these kids can have a understanding of what hope is, because single parents have the hardest job in the world. So what we do at Uncle Pigskin is we provide young men and women now, because I got a lot of female athletes with that basically come from in need families. Because I hate saying underprivileged. No, they're just in need, or single parent households. But we give them a dedicated aunt and uncle to encourage them and be there to support all 4 years through school. And this is if the moms need help with IT, or they want to get into data processing, or whatever it is, we try to help build them as a family. I got kids that have graduated 3 years now, and hey, man, I got one right now, true story, named Shamar Williams. When I got there in the gang, in the bag, on the bad track, smoking every day, turned him into a guy who wasn't going to graduate to a 2-year starter who graduated, been gone 2 years, got a great job making $25 an hour, just got engaged, about to have a baby. Called me last night. Man, I made it, man. I listened to you. Then he told me in the same breath, hey, you remember little Greg that played football who you was always talking to? Man, he down bad, man. I seen him crossing the street the other day looking like a J. He was like, Coach, you was right. It's all about choices. So them two kids, now I got one kid that's saying, hey, man, I seen little Greg. I'm going to pull up on him, man, and try to get him right, man, because he got to make better choices, man. You right, everything you said was right, man. So for Uncle Pigskin to hear that, that's what we do it for. Like, we got the Uncle Pigskin Scholarship. We got the Uncle Pigskin 500 Strong, where we trying to get 500 people to donate $20 a month and just give us that commitment. Like, we have flyers, as you see, have me on it about what we doing. The cash at the barcodes. If anybody want to visit what we doing, like literally, it's unclepigskin.org, www.unclepigskin.org, and you'll see the kids we touch. This is real.
So, I think you're saying something, Michael, that should resonate with every person who listens to this podcast. And it's that bad things can happen. You
Yes,
grew up
ma'am.
in a difficult home. You grew up with difficult circumstances. You made bad decisions and you paid consequences, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're open about that. You're honest. It's not something that's lost on the listening audience. But the thing is, you took all of those experiences and you decided to use all of the lessons you learned for good to make a
Yes, ma'am.
difference. That is a
Yes, ma'am.
story of redemption that creates hope and possibility. And I just pray that every person who's hearing this today says, wow, I've made some bad decisions. I've had to pay some big prices. I've failed multiple times. But today is the day that I can make a difference. Today is the day I can give $20 a month to Uncle Pigskin and invest into someone else. Today is the day that I can choose to be a new person, to do right, to make a difference.
Yes, ma'am.
You are the testimony of that, Michael. That's what I love about you. That's I always followed you on Instagram, and
Right.
I'd be like, well, this was a guy who did some bad things at one
Right.
point in his life, right? But
Of course.
look at what you're doing now. I
Yeah.
just absolutely love it. I love, love, love it. I'm so proud of you. And I think it's just such a good reminder not to judge people. You don't know where they are. You don't
Right.
know what pain they're struggling with. You don't know why they're doing the things they're doing. A lot of
Right.
times we only know what we know. And a lot of that is culture. A lot of it is environment. A lot of it is lack of choice, right? We get put into some hard positions and we need to do things. But look at you. You're telling people do the right thing, make the right choice, learn
Yeah.
from me.
Yes. Please. But
Learn from me.
learn from you because in 2005, like I was being a follower. Like I ain't have to ride with my friend to the hotel and wait on him to come right back. I ain't have to be sitting there and watch him run past me and have the cops pull up. And I thought loyalty and family meant something totally different. Like I could easily be like, nah, this who did that. But instead, I'm like, oh man, I'm in the league, man. They gonna let me out, and then I go get booked. Then they're like, yo, you know, you got armed robbery charges. Who? I ain't robbed nobody. I'm sitting in the car, but and the cop asked me 3 times. He's like, Michael, man, you have a future, man. Just tell me who the guy was with you. I'm like, man, I'm by myself. Me and my wife had just went through some things at the time, and so I'm sitting out there smoking. Man, I just had to clear my head. You know what I'm saying? And that cop told me, he was like, I'm gonna ask you one more time, man. So I'm like, man, I told you, here I go, being arrogant, man. Look, man, I said what I said, man. I'm fine out. He was like, oh, you think so? So I'm in the car, like, cool. I get there, I'm like, call, hey, man, lock me up, okay. That's my firearm, they got no gun. But I'm thinking I'm gonna be cool, you know? And I get to the booking lady, she was like, man, you been busy tonight. I was mean. She was like, baby, you got 4 armed robbery charges. What? You got 4 possession of a firearm due commission of a crime. What? So everything that they put it on me. And they was like, you know what? Hey, you got money. Fight it off. So it's a true story. I go to my first bar hearing. I got like 25 character witnesses. Guys from the NFL. I'm talking about like my pastor, like real people. I've never been in trouble in my life. And judge was like, man, you're a flight risk. You're a detriment to your community. Now, remember, I had a foundation where I probably gave $50,000 to the Bradham Women's Shelter the last 4 years. How am I a detriment? I'm in the news for helping. I got founders awards for, I'm in the USA Today for my philanthropy. And you told me I can harm my endangerment to my community. And he just, like they said, hey, man, you tired of, celebrities feel like coming to court and get slaps on the wrist. I'm going to be his example. 3 times, they didn't give me no bond. Imagine that. Didn't get a bond. So I sat there 13 months. Just in the county jail, man, fighting up, spending a lot of money to get charges throughout, man. That's why the only thing that I regret is that when the Atlanta Constitution called me, I should have told my story because I allowed them to control the narrative. Anybody who knows me know, bro, I'm not robbing nobody, bro. Like, I'm not a thief. That ain't what Sharon Thompson, right? Rob. Beat up people in high school? Yeah, we beat up people in high school. But when I'm hosting parties and getting in fights in college, yeah, anybody, that's why I didn't go first round. Like, I can be honest. Did I hate guys growing up? You probably pulled my information. Yes, I did, bro. You know what? Yes. But it was because of how I grew up. But I didn't go to Savannah State and stay. Look, I went 8 hours. Think about my mindset. I chose to go 8 ever, 5 years at TSU, I never went home for the summer. Think about how long I'm away from my mom. If I'm 8 hours away and I never go home for the summer, just to make sure I can get this dream. You think I'm out here robbing somebody because I get traded to Seattle? And you know I'm injured. You feel me in my physical in Miami, knowing I'm injured. You see me in Seattle, pass me on my physical. Then you don't play me because you're saying I'm injured. Then you release me because you don't want to give me $1.5 million. And I had to learn how that worked. Then I get into the NFL vacuum, or I go to the Jets. Oh, boom, I fly to the Chargers, come home. Oh, boom, I fly to the Raiders, come home. I'm like, man, wait a minute. I need a break. I took a year off because you started the NFL machine, man. If you feel like if you're not playing in the league, you're nobody. If you're not doing this, you don't know who you lose who you are. That Michael Anthony Moon Thompson, the kid from Savannah, I ain't even know him no more. I am now Mike Moon, the Atlanta Falcon. Bum, 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 bum. And that's why you see the transition. That's why life after football is important. These dudes got to understand it's going to suck to sit at your couch and not hear, not people say, let me get your autograph, man. You lose who you are, man. You feel like you have no value. So I found a way to always have value in my life. Because I sat on that couch depressed because I couldn't be the father I wanted to be. I sat on that couch depressed because I couldn't take care of my kids and my wife like I wanted to. Because I couldn't be the man to her she dreamed of. I sat there. But I got my ass up. And that's what I teach the men I come across and these kids, man. We gonna fall, bro. Get your ass up. So I could have came out and sat in my funk and been afraid to be like, oh, yeah, I might be willing to play for the Falcons. Yeah, but you went to prison too. I know I didn't do that. I know I accepted what I accepted, but I felt like all the stuff I did growing up, I promised God at 14 I would honor him if I got drafted, and nothing I did honored him. Yeah, the foundation was cool, the things I was doing was cool, but that wasn't honoring him. I didn't keep my word. So he stripped me of who I thought I loved to make me into the guy I really love. The only way I can be the father I am, the man I am now, I had to go through and get all of it out of me. All of that had to go. All of that self-lustful, self-absorbed. Oh, I'm going to do this, but I know I really want the money. Like, man, I started training kids for free before I had Stud University, which is my lineman training academy. I was training kids for free. I just started doing the love. I want to do what I love, man. Let me find something. So when I meet Tommy and Uncle Pigskin, I'm like, damn. I can coach a little football if I want to. I can train these kids and then be around these kids from freshman to their 12th grade year and watch them become a real man. Then mentor them through high school. I still get called, yo. Oh, man, can I get $30, man? You know, boy, I'm down here in college, man. I ain't got no money. Man, here, but listen to the phone conversation. It's not, oh, can you bail me out of jail? They hungry in college. You know what I'm saying? Like, so Uncle Pigskin, I just feel like this is what God called me to do. It fit. Everybody call me Unc anyway. It's about, and our motto is, it's more than football. It's not about football. Excuse me. It's not about football. Football had me playing football. I mean, in my rookie year in the Tokyo Dome in Japan. But football also had me sitting on the couch, miserable, feeling like I was nothing without it. So let's be honest, man. There's two sides. Let's rotate this whole ball. Stop just showing these guys this NFL logo, man. Be honest. They gonna try to play till they 26 and then realize after that they gotta go, quote unquote, be a civilian and be quote unquote normal. Are you preparing them kids for that? Or are you just telling them, manage your money? Don't get caught up in the bull crap. No. Are you giving them the help they need? Not just the rookie symposium. Are you there making sure Henry Ruggs don't happen, man? That ain't have to happen. Are you noticing? Do you know the background of your players? And are you actually, after the draft happens, continuing to let me monitor that, man? Because If I would have had that, like Art Shell was a God sending me. Bob Whitfield, man, like Jamal Anderson, like he's still my friends to this day, and they always poured into me. Keenan Forney, like my brother, like looked me in my face and told me, bro, how could you do that to your wife and kids, bro? How could you? Why you ain't just tell, bro? I don't respect you for that. That's a friend. And we built off of that years later, bro. I get it. But at man 28, man, I ain't know, bro. I thought these were my partners and I knew what they was doing and I ain't want to get my family caught up in nothing. So let me just be quiet, man. But I hopped out and I wore it I wore it like a badge of honor. Instead of allowing it to recluse me and make me run away. I was tired of running. Let me stand here. I did that and what? Look at the man I am. Look at the people I touch. Don't bring up 2005 and 2021. Bring up my full body of work. When you bring up Michael Thompson, don't bring up, but when I went on Wikipedia, man, I've been fighting Wikipedia for years. Look it up. I didn't get charged with armed robbery. Pull it up. Any court document, you'll see what I was charged with. Show me where I was convicted of armed robbery. I was never convicted of that, ever. I got gun possession, and I got felony gun possession during commission of a crime. I don't got no armed robbery charges.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, Michael. Number one, and you and I talked about this even before the podcast. It's about media ethics, right?
Right.
And we live in a wicked world where people are trying to sell stories at all costs, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the story that we really ought to be telling is a story of loyalty. Right. And it's a story of what do you do when your back is up against the wall? What do you do when there's no right answer? What do you do when there's no good solution? Who do you become afterward? And again, these are all the things that I respect about you. And these are the things that I'm on a mission to highlight, is that beautiful story of redemption, that beautiful story of learning from our past. So speaking of that, Michael, and speaking of your spirit of giving back, I ask every guest on Legacy After the Locker Room to partner with me to support my charity of choice, Special Olympics. Can we count on you for an autograph donation?
Yes, and a financial donation.
Oh, thank you so much. Any idea what you might autograph?
I got a hat or something here, you know. I'll send you something nice.
I love it. And, you know, we are just about out of time. I wanted this podcast to go over a little bit today because I think you have so much to talk about and a story to share that not everybody knows, right? Because they know the Wikipedia story. Right. Michael, I want to give you just a minute or two to talk to the listening audience. And a lot of the Legacy After the Locker Room community knows I've taught high school in Milwaukee. I live in the city. Let's talk about loyalty. Let's talk about choosing your friends. Let's talk about getting a mentor, not worried necessarily even about going to college, but staying out of being incarcerated. What's your message to the people who are listening to this to inspire them to make the right choice and avoid the pain?
My message is simple, like, love yourself so much that you'll sacrifice all your selfish lusts for the better you. That stuff that you want right now, if it make you at one time ever think that you less than a person or have shame about it or can't tell a person about it, it ain't worth it. Sometimes you got to take the road that's yours, and it may be the most traveled or the less traveled. But until you get on your road and walk in your destiny, you're never going to know. You're never going to know who you are until you're tested. If everything is coming easy, you don't know who you are. So wake up every day, believe in something greater than yourself. Find you somebody that I call a life partner that is going to tell you about yourself when you don't even want to hear it. Like my kid's mom, Misha Thompson, will tell me exactly who I am no matter what. And it's important that you keep somebody like that no matter the relationship around you, because once again, if you want to be the best version of you, you can't be selfish. You can't say, oh, because it didn't work out like I wanted, I don't want to hear that. Hear that sometimes. Look in the mirror and be proud of the person you see when you brush your teeth, like I tell my kids. Stand there and tell yourself that you are beautiful, that you're handsome, that you deserve it. Speak words of affirmation on yourself before you want somebody else to give them to you. Be a dependable. If it's your family that needs you, your job that needs you, your kids that need you, whatever it is, be dependable for those that love you unconditionally. Don't be dependable for those that only love you for what you're doing for them. And just have faith. No matter what. Never quit. That's it.
That's not it. That is more than enough. What a beautiful story. I hope every person here heard this today and just really let it speak to their heart. Michael, you're such an encouragement to the
Thank you.
youth. You're an encouragement to boys and girls, to men and women, to people of all color, and that is a gift from God.
Thank you so much.
God, I'm so thankful that you're in my life with a story that is beautiful and inspiring, a story that
Kayla, thank
creates
you
hope and
so much.
possibility.
Thank you so much for even noticing me. You know what I mean? Because I'm not trying to be noticed. I'm just trying to do God's work. And I feel like if I be that person, then God gonna shine his light on my works that way. So thank you so much. Like, I'm truly humble and I'm truly appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Folks, my name is Kayla Bradham. I'm your host of Legacy After the Locker Room, here today with NFL alumni Michael Moon Thompson, one of my heroes, reminding you to live your legacy. Thanks, Michael.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.